Hello everyone! In this video we will introduce the types of phosphorus fertilizers. Phosphorus is one of the 3 essential nutrients for plants. It is second only to nitrogen and potassium in the plant body and is involved in plant life in many ways. In this lesson we will learn about the common types of phosphate fertilizers and their characteristics, and guidance on the correct selection and application of phosphate fertilizers in production. There are 3 types of phosphate fertilizers, according to the solubility of the phosphates they contain: water-soluble phosphate fertilizers, citrate-soluble phosphatic fertilizers, insoluble phosphate fertilizer. The first type is water-soluble phosphate fertilizer. Its water-soluble monocalcium phosphate characterizes it. The phosphorus is easily absorbed by plants and acts fast, which makes it a fast-acting phosphate fertilizer. Calcium superphosphate is also known as common calcium. Its composition has calcium dihydrogen phosphate monohydrate, accounting for 30% to 50%. Phosphorus pentoxide accounted for 12% to 18%. Calcium sulfate, 40%. Impurities include small amounts of phosphoric or sulfuric acid and iron and aluminum sulfate. When calcium superphosphate is applied to the soil, 2 transformative effects should not be overlooked. 1. Phosphate precipitation or chemical fixation. It means that in the dissolution process of calcium superphosphate, the resulting phosphoric acid is very acidic. It can dissolve iron, aluminum, manganese, or calcium, magnesium, etc. In the soil, when it diffuses, these cations produce the corresponding phosphate precipitation when they reach a certain concentration. 2. Phosphorus absorption role. This is the phenomenon that the soil solid phase absorbs phosphate or phosphate ions in the soil's liquid phase. Its classification includes absorbed state and absorption. The result of its transformation leads to a reduction in the effectiveness of phosphate fertilizer. The second type is weak acid soluble fertilizer, also known as citrate soluble phosphatic fertilizer. This phosphate fertilizer can be dissolved in 2% citric acid or neutral ammonium citrate solution. It is characterized by weak acid solubility and slower fertilization effect than water-soluble phosphate fertilizers. The common types of this are calcium-magnesium phosphate fertilizer. It has amorphous calcium phosphate, which contains 14% to 18% phosphorus pentoxide. It also has calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, silicon dioxide, etc. It is gray-green or gray-brown, powder-like. It can be dissolved in a 2% citric acid solution. It shows an alkaline reaction. It has little hygroscopicity and is non-corrosive. So, how does it transform in the soil? In acidic soil, it dissolves gradually in the presence of soil acid. Thus, it neutralizes some of the acids, regulates the soil reaction, and increases the effectiveness of phosphorus in neutral or calcareous soil. It dissolves gradually by the action of microorganisms and acid secreted by crop roots, slowly releasing phosphoric acid and having a long fertilizing effect in a longer period after application. The dissolution is greater than the fixed. The third type is insoluble phosphate fertilizer. It is characterized by phosphate, insoluble in water, only in strong acids, slow and steady fertilization effect, and is a late-acting phosphate fertilizer. Ground phosphate rock. Its composition is mainly fluorapatite. It is gray-yellow, gray-brown, or black-brown powder. It is insoluble in water. It is chemically neutral. Conditions for direct application of ground phosphate rock. The crystalline nature of phosphate ore. The data show that the crystal model has a high fertilization efficiency, requiring a solubility ratio of phosphorus or in citric acid greater than 15%, and a particle size fineness of 90% that can pass a 0.149 millimeter sieve. Soil conditions. Soil pH is the most important. The acidity and solubility increase, but the high exchange amount of aluminum and the low exchange amount of calcium is not good for plant growth, and lime should be applied appropriately to neutralize the acidity. The base saturability is small, the pH is low, and the fertilization efficiency is high. Cec Fertilization Efficiency. The fertilization efficiency of acidic clay soils with a large CEC share is greater than that of sandy soils with a small CEC. Degree of soil maturation. Red and yellow soils with low maturation on newly reclaimed land are higher than soils with high maturation. That is all we have for today's lesson. Thank you.